So, Mr. Jake Steinberg here, who is a writer and a comedian, was trending today and brought to my attention the absolutely horrifying take that the company that I like and the video game that I bought the first ever digital deluxe edition for was referencing racist language. I can imagine this, the atrocity, like me, supporting something like it, and I was like, oh no. Have I ended up supporting hate? Am I not a good person? Am I not a decent individual? Am I not a good member of society? What have I done? I need to know more. So I went to the article and I'm like, well, what could Stellar Blade have done? I mean, Sony is upset. What did they do to upset Sony? Are you ready to see it? I don't know if I should get your kids out of the room because this image is quite brutal. I mean, Sony and the gaming press were very concerned. All right. Well, let's look at it. Racismus. Look at it. The horror. Man, if you're a minority, you need to worship Sony. You need to worship Sony on your knees because they protect you from vile filth like this. Look at it. Hard R. Oh, Dios mío. How could this sneak past? If only Sweet Baby was there. Apparently, this is what it's about, right? Like Sweet Baby protects us from this vile filth in the sanctity of our video games. Going back to the original guy, right? This is what gaming companies need to do. Pay tens of thousands of dollars for consultants in order to avoid non-controversies such as this. And by the way, this was patched in less than 1 hour. Like, it was fixed internally. They didn't have to spend any money. How did they fix it? Well, they replaced it with crime R. Now, if you actually look at the Urban Dictionary, you will notice that crime R has meaning. Not that the game journalists know. Now, here's what's interesting. Like, who discovered this? Do you guys remember when the internet was in its infancy and people were sharing the first memes? I remember one of them was to share a woman with a big fat cleavage. And there was like a little bit of text underneath. And it said, if you're reading this, you're gay. Because the idea was that you're not looking where a straight man was supposed to look. If you have this on your computer screen, why are you looking at the graffiti? And not to mention, right, like most normal people probably don't even notice the graffiti in their video games. Like, I played the demo, I didn't just stop by in order to look at every little piece of detail, especially when you don't have that many hours to play. Right, because it's a demo, you gotta write your article, you gotta play it in like 2 hours or less. So, who managed to capture the screenshot? Well, apparently the only people that actually did get to play it were the game journalists. And what's interesting is that all of them are releasing the article within minutes of each other. I mean, look at this, right? IGN article releases at 3 p.m. And it talks about how, oh, there's hate speech in Stellar Blade and it will be patched out. 25 minutes later, Kotaku. And after that, you get more of debate from other journalists, and all of them are talking about this non-controversy, which, again, if you're from outside of the United States, you don't even know what hard R means. And even in the United States, it's a stretch, because it's not even a slur. Like it's some pseudo-reference to hate speech that can only be interpreted as such subjectively, and it's so painfully obvious that the developers didn't even intended it. But this is the thing, right? Because now the game is getting reviewed bombed by the journalists. Apparently this is fine. Like, if customers are review bombing video games, that's horrible, that's hateful. You know, if customers want to boycott games that had certain consultants working on it, that is disgusting, disturbing behavior, how dare you not give your money to the company? But when game journalists are review bombing the product themselves, oh, well, that's fine. So how are they review bombing? Well, most of them are giving it 6 and 7s. And you'll be like, well, how is the 7 review bombing? IGN gave Gone Home, which is a game you finish in 2 hours, and it's a walking simulator. It has no puzzles, no enemies, no nothing. It gave it a 9. and you're telling me that Stellar Blade is a 7? And when you actually read the review, they're saying, oh yeah, the soundtrack is amazing, the gameplay is great, the characters aren't charming. Really, the characters aren't charming. So like the characters from The Last of Us 2 are charming? Like you find Abby from The Last of Us 2 charming? Very interesting, IGN. Your taste in video games are fascinating. Now, again, you start to understand that this whole thing with the consultants is very similar to a protection racket. Because you hire the consultants, and if your game is like Hades and you have naked Aphrodite in the game, the journalists have no problem with that. They're like, oh, that's artistic. It's very beautiful, very enlightening, so cool. But if you don't hire the consultants and you have just realistic looking female characters in the game, disgusting, borderline pornographic, disturbing, hate speeches in it. Like seriously, how much do you not think these journalists were trying their best to find anything that would be offensive in the game? And then release these articles within minutes of each other. Like even us YouTubers who talk to each other. Like I play D&D with Short Fat Otaku, with Sargon, with Arch. We talk to each other. We do not release videos on the same subject within minutes of each other. We do not do this type of coordination. It goes to show that this is not just mean-spirited, but there is an actual grift going on. And these people are so toxic to the customers. They're so toxic to the consumers. On one hand, if you look at a video game like The Last of Us 2 and you complain about the female character's aesthetics and you say, wow, Abby looks absolutely horrendous. I just can't get into the game. Like the way she looks. Or the Diablo 2 remake, where the Amazon character was dubbed by the community Amazmam. And unironically, I like to play as the Amazon, so the first thing that I had to do was to find a helmet to put it on the head because it looked absolutely distracting. And if you say that, it's like, oh, so you're just playing a game for aesthetics? Oh, how I pity you. You're so sad. Oh, you're so disgusting. And then when you look at how the game journalists, the official critics are reviewing, they're like, oh, the aesthetics. Oh, I just don't like it. Oh, the characters aren't charming enough. Oh yes, the gameplay, I love it. I love the gameplay. I love the soundtrack. Love it, love it, love it. But the aesthetics, I see a titty on my screen. So all of a sudden, the conversation about looks is allowed. And you gotta understand, you know, like all of this, literally all of this is to encourage the grift. I mean, the message is clear. Hey, shift up. You want good press? Hire the consultants. And the thing with the press, right? A lot of people don't understand. They think, oh, it's that they're promoting video games, right? It's like, who needs the press? Like, I can get my reviews from Asmongold, which is true. Like, you can get your reviews from Asmongold. But usually the shareholders, the people that buy and sell stocks, they actually do look at the press. And articles where the headline mentions the dreaded N-word, they scare off the investors. And again, like there's so many of them. It's like, well, there must be something there. Look how many outlets are reporting on this. Look, and they're all talking about it. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something there. I mean, the community must be outraged. If you don't actually go on Twitter, if you don't actually go on YouTube, you would think that, yeah, I mean, it's grassroots. It's like people found this in the video game and they were outraged. When in reality, all of this is manufactured. All of this and again, you know, I saw Asmongold saying he goes on Reddit and he doesn't see these conversations. It's moderation. Like, if you go on Reddit and you even bring up something like this, you talk about female character aesthetics, or you talk about how you don't like diversity, inclusivity, and equity in video games, or any of that, you just get banned. And all of this is to create the grift, is to, you know, tell companies, it's like, hey, if you don't want the investors to be spooked, then hire our consultants. And all of this goes away. If you don't hire our consultants, we're going to make it worse. Let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.